Hey, it's Dan Morales, and this is Homebuyer Radio, episode number 47. Hey, this week I want to talk about second homes. We are in an area of the country right on the beautiful shores of Lake Michigan where we get a ton of tourist visitors throughout the summer. And we have a lot of clients who buy houses on the lake and, close to the lake in some of these resort areas. And they buy them as a second home, versus, the primary residence that maybe they have someplace else. We tend to see a lot of folks who, their primary residence is in Chicago and they buy a second home on this side of the lake and they come up here for the weekends. And it's just a nice getaway from the city life. So second homes, what is the biggest difference when it comes to mortgages if you are financing a second home versus if you are buying a primary residence, okay? Really the biggest difference really comes down to down payment. You have to have a larger down payment for a second home than if you're buying a primary residence. That is probably the biggest difference there, okay? The other part to that, too, is interest rates and terms for a primary residence and second home. For the most part, interest rates pretty much stay the same, primary residence versus second home. Where you can have some slight variation in the terms would be if you were doing a mortgage that had a down payment that was, let's say, less than 20%, and you had to contend with some form of mortgage insurance or PMI. The PMI for a second home can be a little more expensive than what it would be for a primary residence. So that's one area where you can have a little more cost. Obviously, you got to have a bigger down payment for a second home versus a primary residence. The amount of the down payment is going to vary, depending on, when you're qualifying for the mortgage. What I mean by that is, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have some set rules as far as the down payment that's required. I don't want to give a specific percentage for a down payment, and that's just because the rules can change. But you should know, at least as of October 2017, in order to do a second home, you have to have a little bit larger down payment than if you're doing a primary residence. Okay. Interest rates, like I said, for the most part, they're really the same. Primary residence versus a second home. Just a larger down payment typically going to be required for a second home. And if you have to have a mortgage that requires some form of mortgage insurance because you have less than 20% down, that cost of mortgage insurance is going to be a little bit higher than what it would be if it was a primary residence. But we do a ton of them, okay? Again, my name is Dan Morales. I am a mortgage loan officer. That means I write mortgages. That's how I make my living, and it's how I support my family. I would love to have the opportunity to have you as a client. We lend throughout pretty much the entire 50 states. Not all programs are available in all states, but if for some reason the program that you need to qualify is one that we don't have available in your state, we can certainly help get you connected with a good, competent lender in your part of the country. Okay, you can reach me 616-931-4629. Again, 616-931-4629. Dan at danmorales.com. That's DANMORALEZ.com. So danmorales.com is my website. My NMLS number is 709729, and North Point Bank is an equal housing lender.